Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Dave's Faves. And this is a disc that I have talked about previously and which there are samples of that you can actually listen to, so I don't have to do it again. But like I said, these are my faves. And so some of them are going to get talked about more than once on this channel, which I frankly think in, thousands of videos is not a crime. And also because in order to really make the case for how great these things are, I can't just mention one and then have it vanish forever into the pile of endlessly large, very fine recordings of stuff. No, these things need to be promoted. And I've been listening to a lot of Boccherini lately. I just did the guitar quintets, and this was one of the Boccherini discs that just blew my mind because it's music that no one has heard by him. Well, most Boccherini is music that no one has heard by him. It's part of that larger series of the complete Boccherini symphonies that Johannes Goritzki did on CPO. This has one little tiny symphony, the Symphony G521, which is a 5-minute and a bit so long symphony in 3 movements, and it's an early idea of what a symphony is. That is an overture. The word for symphony, it was an overture. They were interchangeable back in the days. A sinfonia was the thing that you started the opera with, the Symphonia, and it was in Baroque period, it was just as often called an overture, but it was the same basic thing. In this case, the Italian Sinfonia is a 3-movement overture in fast, slow, fast form, which is exactly what you get here. And it's just delightful. But the other things you get are what really, really sealed the deal. Boccherini was a cellist, and he wrote a couple of dozen cello concertos, which still don't exist in a critical edition and still don't get performed very often, and they are marvelous works. And you would think that cellists particularly would really be on top of these things and be clamoring for the repertoire, because cellists need the repertoire. And this is first-class music from the classical period. I mean, the great classical period. And there are 2 of them on here. And Johannes Goritzki, by the way, is a cellist, so he plays and conducts. You get the cello concerto in G, which has what is it? It's G4. So they're G numbers if you're a Boccheriniite, by the way, right? Is it in G or is it in D? There's one in. It doesn't say it. Drat. There we go. C major. Of course, because I said it was in G. One in C major and one in D major. And they are G number 477 and G number, like Mozart has Kerschel numbers, K numbers, Boccherini has G numbers. G number 479. These are beautiful, wonderful, wonderful works. My goodness, where have they been all of our lives? I don't understand it. I mean, the neglect of this repertoire to me is incomprehensible, especially with, there aren't like billions of great cello concertos, and cellists are looking for accessible classical repertoire. It's fabulous to do with all these chamber orchestras running around and not period instrument groups. No! Boccherini needs vibrato. He notates it quite often. He wants it. He loves it. His orchestra played with it, if they all played with it back then. But, I think one of the problems is that the period instrument movement, as it is currently articulated in its orthodoxies of performance practice, is not going to make Boccherini sound at his best, because his music requires a certain lusciousness and richness and succulence of timbre. He's not a line guy. He's not a polyphonist. He's a chord guy. He loved rich, sexy, sensual sounds. He's very detailed in his dynamic markings, in his markings for articulation, and his expressive indications. And so you have to have the full romantic, modern panoply of expressive devices at your disposal, and you have to use them, and use them regularly, to make the music sound as sexy and romantic and melodic and lyrical and singably expressive as you possibly can. But if you do that, and these performances largely do, you will be rewarded endlessly. But even better, my God, it's so wonderful. There is this octet thing. It's the octet opus 38. That means it was published by somebody who gave it an opus number that's G470, so it's in the same general period. Now, this octet is for a mixed ensemble of strings and winds. Let me see if it tells you what they are. No, why should they tell you what it is? I mean, that would really be pushing it. I suppose if I look at the teeny notes here, I mean, it has like a horn, and it has some an oboe or something, and it has some string things in it. Let me see. I'm sure they tell you what it is. Here it is. It belongs to a group of 6 compositions that Boccherini entered in his work catalog as Opus 38. This is 38A. Here we go. It has, yes, it's 5 sextets and an octet with oboe, horn, etc. So it's one of the first pieces of music in the entire classical period which is written for an etc. Yeah. Now, in addition to 2 violins, viola, and 2 cellos, a horn, a bassoon, and either an oboe or a flute. That's what you play with it. But you are not going to believe how gorgeous this thing sounds. And you can hear a sample of it on my other Boccherini video. And I know I'm telling you to go find it and whatnot, but it's easy. I have a wonderful search function on the homepage of my YouTube channel, and you just write in Boccherini and poof, up it's going to come. And wow, what a beautiful, beautiful work it is. It is the epitome of classical elegance. It's relaxed, it's sunny, it's melodic and carefree, but never facile. It's not dumbing down in any way. It's not cheap. It's not tacky. It's not puerile. It's gorgeous. It's such beautiful music. I just adore this disc. And I really recommend very, very strongly that you get your paws on it while you can. Either download it, because I have it downloaded too. It's on my iPhone, or get this. Just get the hard copy and wallow, and shamelessly wallow. Just let it wash over you in waves of lyrical beauty and melodic poise. And oh gosh, it's beautiful. It's one of those things that makes life worth living. I'm not kidding. So get this Boccherini disc and keep on listening. Thank you for joining me. Take care.